This is the Halo65 version 2 from Nuphy. You get better light surrounding the bottom half of the keyboard along with the aluminum top case. The box content is jam-packed with value along with their signature frosted PET anti-dust cover. I'm a huge fan of dust covers, but anyways, Nuphy is offering this in multiple colorways, which we will go over in the aesthetic segment of this video. But before we get ahead of ourselves, hi, my name is Daniel with the Biboyharanero team. We've been uploading videos since 2020. Subscribe so you're always updated with our new video releases and product updates. Now, back to the Halo65. This is a 65% gasket-mounted mechanical keyboard, and by gasket-mounted, I mean specifically that this is PCB gasket-mounted. In other words, the gaskets are attached to the PCB rather than the positioning plate. Later, we will be exploring the sound signature of this keyboard. This has a tri-mode connectivity being wired, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth, so you can basically switch between 4 wireless devices and connect this via wired with just a toggle switch up top. Besides the toggle switch is an OS switch, so yep, this is compatible with Mac or Windows. Anywho, I tested this out for a ride in gaming and I jived well with it greatly on first try, because although the keycaps aren't cherry profile, it's very similar to it, but with more ergonomic touches. The keyboard has 1000 Hz pulling rate and NKRO, so this is dependable even for the most intense gaming sessions. My unit came with raspberry switches having 45 grams springs within. Although I suggest spring weights of 40 grams and below for gaming, this will do just fine for both gaming and office work. If you don't like the switches, freely replace them as this has a full universal hot swap south-facing PCB, so any 3-pin or 5-pin switch would fit. And speaking about the keys, this is fully customizable with QMK or VIA. Nuphy has a page on their website dedicated to teaching y'all how to set up and use VIA. And for the newbies out there, this is a downloadable software or can also be accessed through their web-based app. This basically makes it very easy for anyone with a VIA-compatible keyboard to make adjustments on the fly on any PC. Inside the box, you get the documentation, cable, lots of extra Windows keycaps, 3 extra Nuphy switches, a key puller combo, and a frosted PET dust cover. You also get the dongle in a separate plastic case with a rubber cover on the dongle port of the keyboard as a placeholder. I like that they included a PET dust cover so dust buildup can be slowed down in times when you're not using the keyboard. Then, onto the cable and other accessories. I like that they're also branded with Nuphy's colors and branding. Now, onto the keyboard itself, it is made with a mixture of both plastic and aluminum. The top half is aluminum and the bottom half is plastic. Although the bottom half is plastic, you get one that's of really high quality. I'm not sure what plastic material is used here, but it feels like it's really thick and not the hollow sounding thin plastic you get on some keyboards. And speaking about hollow sounds, when tapping, one of the biggest selling points of this keyboard is its internal dampers. Just like the Halo65 version 1, this also has a silicone bottom damper underneath, which adds to the overall weight and absorbs a lot of the vibrations. You get dampers for the switches and also for the positioning plate. And to add to all that, this too has dampers under the spacebar for a more quiet, less rattly sound signature all across the keyboard. The spacebar also has a design meant to create a specific sound signature for the spacebar. You get a magnetic Halo badge at the upper right corner of the keyboard, which I think is really cool. One thing I forgot to mention about a pro of having this with a plastic bottom is the addition of the 2-level kick-up feet. I know we're jumping from topic to topic, so I apologize. Anyways, let's continue. Most of the aluminum keyboards that I've had do not have kick-up feet, so it was good that the bottom was plastic. Along with those kick-up feet, you will also find anti-slip rubber padding so this doesn't move around your desk. On the top side of the keyboard, by the left-hand side, you get the USB-C input, connectivity switch, and the OS switch. By the right side is the dongle port to store your dongle when not in use. Overall, the keyboard is built really well, feels very sturdy and also very premium as expected from Nuphy. The Halo65 version 2 comes with KOP profile keycaps. For those who've never heard of KOP in the past, this is pretty much similar to cherry profile, but with, as I said a while ago, ergonomic touches. You get rounded corners that seem to have more top surface versus cherry profile. The keys have grooves in them that feel really good to the fingers. I think this keycap set is very forgiving and makes the keyboard all the more pleasurable to type on. One thing that also contributes to the typing feel is the keycap plastic build being double shot PBT, with some keys having a triple shot build. This has legends that will virtually never fade, plus with the PBT plastic build, it adds to more oil resistance and shine resistance. Now onto the stabilizers. They feel really sturdy and tightly placed on the positioning plate. They also feel well tuned and lubricated for a more quiet sound. In fact, if you look closely into the stabilizers, you will see the very thick oil that they put on it. Though I I think oil was applied only at the elbows of the wire. You'd probably get a better, more quieter stab if you relube this with dielectric grease in the old-fashioned messy way. Some of the stabilized keys still feel like there's a little bit of mild rattling to them, but it isn't bothering for me. For the raspberry switches, these have 45-gram springs within and have mild wobbles to the stem. Thanks to the internal lubrication of the springs, they do not sound rattly when gliding fingers on top of the keys. Plus, this also has palm stems, which, based on the nature of palm, they are self-lubricating and have a tiny tidbit more shock absorption versus polycarbonate stems. They're not very noisy to my ears, and they sound smooth. Mildly thocky. Here's a sound test. The Halo65 version 2 is offered in 5 colorways. You get black, white, green, blue, and pink. And I hated that I didn't choose the blue color. I would have loved that. I got the white one as this would look best on camera. Anyhow, looking into the keycaps, you get the signature low contrast keycap set from Nuphy. I personally do not like low contrast keycaps, but this looks just fine, adding to the overall professional aesthetic of the keyboard. It's not too in your face and also not at the level that is difficult for my eyes to see. And if you look closely into the keycaps, you will see some light bars underneath F, J, and arrow up. Those are the keys with what I mentioned earlier having a triple shot build. Then if you look closely into the number row, you will see sub-legends in teal. Again, I personally do not like sub-legends on my keycaps, but this looks just fine. You get a special color on the escape key, enter key, and spacebar, which kinda adds to the overall fun, creative personality of Nuphy's branding. I personally do not like yellow spacebars, but that's just me. I wish a gray spacebar or a white one was included in the box. Moving on, if you look into the manual, you will find RGB controls for the halo light around the keyboard and also the RGBs on the keys. I'm not gonna go through each of these controls as it's going to take a good 30 seconds of our time. But check this out as my camera woman cycles through the RGB modes of the keys. So yep, those are not my fingers. I do the script writing and voiceovers and my camera woman does all camera shots. Anyhow, my favorite part of the keyboard in terms of aesthetics is the magnetic halo badge up top, which we've already gone over. It's just so cool and it's also removable too. I'm not really sure if this is a replaceable thing or maybe there'll be something you could place onto that magnetic slot. But anyways, that's pretty much it for this review. I'm pretty sure I missed a thing or two, so just let me know what detail I missed or if you have any questions. I will leave links down in the description of this video, so be sure to check them out on where to get your Nuphy Halo65 version 2. This is Daniel with the Biboyharanero team. We'll see you guys again next time. Subscribe!